Okay, our next speaker is Ross Boyd, Campaigns Officer for the Union of Students in Ireland.
Thank you everybody for coming out here today, and what I'm here for on behalf of the Union of Students of Ireland and student unions across the island of Ireland is that students are affected as much by the eviction ban lifting as everyone else. Students should have to be facing only just exams and assignments, not the risk of having to be homeless in a few days' time. This is a ridiculous situation we're facing today, where students are having to worry about whether they're able to have a place to live in the middle of their assignments and exams, having to balance through SUSI payments, which are ridiculously underfunded still, even though there are slight increases, and very much ridiculous it's a situation that students are still seen as a commodity, and students are seeing the housing as a commodity, rather than as a human right, and education being a human right, and all that too. I'm very much here to bring the student perspective and show how the government has failed students and continually failed students in this all. Despite student accommodation being finally funded and direct funding for student accommodation, there is still going to be a shortage of 20,000 beds by 2024. And where are these students meant to live? Where these students are meant to live in the terms of actually the increased amount of places in the CAO and how much we need these economic skills as such, how are we meant to provide this if these places don't have a home or even just a place to live? Where we see the government, rather than actually building these places and actually building affordable places, we actually see them instead increasing digs and rent-a-room schemes. How this is something that we've heard from the Minister of Higher Education, Simon Harris, multiple times, saying this was only going to be a temporary solution. Yeah, we've seen in the cost of living measures and the actual amendments to the eviction housing lifting is very much trying to increase rent-a-room schemes as an attainable solution. This is not the case, and this is not something any of us should accept. We very much need to see the building of affordable, purpose-built student accommodation across the island of Ireland. We actually need to see renters' protections for rent-a-room schemes and those in digs. How many students don't have to worry about this eviction ban purely because they literally have no contract and no legal agreement to actually stand on. Who could be evicted at any time, whose locks can be changed at any notice. And this is what students have to face day in and day out, even today, but also on any day. Very much also want to give our solidarity as well to CASU and all the other unions who took part on the occupation of the Department of Housing yesterday. I think it's also disgraceful how we have seen, and how much we're talking about this, how little media coverage has been on this as well. How very much this is the direct action we need, how this is the direct action we need to unite on, and how we need to call and evict this government, because very much we have to say enough is enough, and also the United Curla Kayla, there's unity and strength, and we need to unite together to call against the neoliberal policies that have caused this crisis, to call against the ridiculousness of government rhetoric, to call that the literal Taoiseach is now literally a landlord, and my local TD as well on that. How are we meant to have an actual government that works for us when our Taoiseach is literally a landlord? So I hope, coming out at the end of this here, I hope we can build on today, evict this government, get a general election, and very much call for an alternate term of politics, a politics that works for all, not just a few. Been
taken as fools. I'm here today representing lone parents who are the household most likely to be in emergency accommodation tonight. The group most likely to be sitting with a notice of termination in their hand, terrified, having no partner to say what will we do, being responsible for children, not just themselves, wondering where they will bring their children, going to local authority offices and being told, come back when you have your bags and baggages on your backs and we'll see if we have a bed for you then. That is wrong. But more as well, I'm going to talk about domestic violence, because it's an issue that isn't related to housing that much, and it should be. Tonight there are thousands of women and men in abusive relationship who are trapped in their housing because they're choosing, do I put up with the bruises or do I end up, me and my children, homeless? And that is wrong. It is wrong on so many levels. Last year, the government issued a domestic violence strategy. How many words do you think were on housing? I tell you, none. What they did for domestic violence victims is that they will give you 3 months rent supplement to get out. 3 months rent supplement in a house where the Simon Communities report locked out today said there are 29 available properties in the whole of Ireland for rent supplement and HAP. So that's what they'll give you. 3 months rent supplement. You go into the courts and the courts order the abuser to pay the mortgage. And what does the government do? The Department of Social Protection treats it as cash and they assess it as means, and you make the choice whether you will keep a roof over your head or will you put food on the table of your children. There are policies that are failing our children, and tonight 3,500 are in emergency accommodation, and if this eviction ban isn't lifted, there will be 3,500 more in a year's time. Thank you.
Yeah, to be honest, a government that puts children into homelessness knowingly and deliberately should have criminal charges of neglect levied against them. It's absolutely shameful. I want you to give a very warm welcome to possibly the best housing campaigner in this country. Somebody who has every single week for I don't know how long stood outside, often on his own, to highlight the housing crisis, to sing the song he's just about to sing for you, somebody who himself is facing a housing emergency situation, but who has been absolutely resilient and determined in taking his fight to the government. So please welcome Martin Leahy.
Thanks. Some people's misery, other people's gain. Enrich the rich and make them richer. They see property as opportunity, a business that'll make the sickest sicker. If they build too many houses, it'll drive down the price. It's called economics fit in. So there's no will to address it, cause it's not in their interest. We've seen it over time and time again. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. In this world, in this life, it's a basic human right to have a dignified place you call your own. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. Safe and warm where you belong. Everyone should have a home. Housing developers that are hung up on greed, hungry vultures swooping from the sky, crucifying rents that are on the increase. Shamefully they bleed the people dry. All the vacant properties, we can see them in our towns. Sign the papers and take down the boards. A home, not a hotel. A home, not a hostel. A home, not a cardboard box on the side of the road. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. In this world, in this life, it's a basic human right to have a dignified place you call your own. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. Safe and warm where you belong. Everyone should have a home. We've got landlords and government who vote and legislate in favour of investments they control. Our leaders, they facilitate, they wave away the emergency created at their door. All the money minds get richer, the poor just fade into hovels and holes they can't afford. Dystopian evictions, ruthless repossessions, a wealthy country's people in a stranglehold. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. In this world, in this life, it's a basic human right to have a dignified place you call your own. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. Safe and warm where you belong. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. In this world, in this life, it's a basic human right to have a dignified place you call your own. Everyone should have a home. Everyone should have a home. Safe and warm where you belong. Everyone should have a home. Thanks.
Give him a huge round of applause, Martin Lee. Okay, we've nearly come to the end of our rally. We just have a couple more people to speak to you, and then we want to make a little bit more noise before we go. But our next speaker, if I was saying Martin Lee, he is one of the best housing activists in this country. Our next speaker, Sophia Mulvaney, is another one, a young woman, a disability activist and a wheelchair user, and she's spoken on so many of our protests, so please give her your ears. Sophia Mulvaney.
Hello, I'm Sophia from Access for All. 2 days ago, our campaign received an email from a family in the Midlands. They contacted us because of the work we do highlighting inequality. The family contacting us know that we can't change the decisions government make, but they are desperate, so they reached out to us. This family are living in rented accommodation, and one of the parents is a carer to a child with a disability. This child is in school, and at the moment supports are in place and he is making good progress. This family have been served with notice to quit. They have known for some time that once the eviction ban is lifted, that their landlord is selling and that they will have to move out. They have a budget of €1,400 per month, but there is nothing in their area that comes near that rent, and because of legacy issues, they do not qualify for HAP. They contacted us out of despair. They told us that all support they have fought so long and hard for will be lost if they have to move out of their primary care team area. This is the hidden impact that decisions made by government will have. Not only will you lose your home, but you lose your support team, a team you most likely trust, a team that empowers you and your family to live the best life you can. By removing this ban, people like me will have to fight again for those supports. But they will have to do that without a home. How can that be? Only last year I spoke about how it is us, the children, those who make no decisions, are the ones who have to suffer the most. They haven't done anything wrong, yet some children find themselves in homelessness. They haven't done anything wrong, yet their supports can get taken away from them. We need kids to go to school. We need kids to have friends, but then that is taken away from us. How can that be? I made a speech and I put it to the adults that all these problems were their responsibility, and that we, the kids, would be watching and waiting to see you, the adults, make it right. Make it so none of us children would feel afraid. That you, the adults, would do the right thing. Yet once again, the adults have failed us. Shame on you, the adults. Shame on you. I'm Sophia and I fight for what is right, and this is not right.
Yeah, there's not much more to say really after that, but the final speaker to address us is somebody who's in the firing line along with 35 other households who are facing eviction at the hands of, I think, what can be only described as a ruthless, profit-hungry, greedy landlord who is trying to mass evict the tenants of Tahani House. So please give a big warm welcome to James O'Toole from Tahani House.
Me and everyone in my apartment block is facing homelessness. No matter what those people in there say, there's nowhere else for us to go except homelessness. And our society has been cracked and divided by what they've done. There's a line between the people I grew up in Fatty Man mansions, kind people, working class people who give you the food off their plate if you are hungry. Those people who want to share, and people like my landlord who would make us all homeless for a few extra quid. The people at Tiny House, we've been campaigning for Dublin City Council to buy our block, and we've got the council to the point now where they're willing to talk to our landlord. He won't pick up the phone, he won't even talk to them. For the sake of a few extra quid, he's willing to make us homeless. He won't even talk to the council. But there's also a line between, in the last few weeks, a line between those who've supported tenants like us and those who've stabbed us in the back. Fianna Fáil have stabbed us in the back. Fine Gael have stabbed us in the back. The Green Party have stabbed us in the back. And the so-called Green Rebels, Nessa Horgan and Patrick Costello, they stabbed us in the back. They got loads of media coverage saying they'd make a stand against the government, and then they voted for this landlord government. They stabbed us in the back. And the final line we have to draw is a line in the sand, because I'm telling you, I'm sick to death of waiting for the bailiffs or security thugs to come and kick me out of my flat. I'm sick to death of the sleepless nights. I'm sick to death of it. But I'm also sick to death of hearing about the 12,000 people that are already homeless, the 3,000 children that are traumatised and will be traumatised for life because of homelessness. I'm saying right here and right now, we need to draw the line in the sand. And I'm sending a message to my landlord right here and right now. I'm sending a message to the government and a message to the council and a message to the Gardaí. I am not leaving Tiny House. You can send in the bailiffs. You can send in the courts. I am staying in my home. I am not volunteering for homelessness. And nobody should volunteer themselves for homelessness. The turnout here today is a great beginning, because do you know what? There's a lot of people who aren't here who are facing eviction. If you're a mother with 3 kids, or if you have a family and you get eviction notice, you're probably at home in tears right now. And we have to stand in solidarity with those people. And we have to realise, as the stories of those evictions start leaking into the papers over the next few weeks, there's going to be a lot of anger. There's going to be a lot of anger. And those of us who are forced to join these protests won't be the last to join these protests. This is a movement that's going to take down this government. And I'm saying it now, let's draw a line in the sand. If I stand against the bailiffs and the bailiffs comes to kick me out of my house, will you stand with me?
Well said, James. And I hope I speak for all of us, I'm sure I do, that we will stand with any tenant, any family that is fighting against an unjust eviction into homelessness. We will stand with them. Now we're going to come to a close, but I want people to consider this. 150 years ago, a thing called the Tenant Right League was established in this country to stop the eviction of small farmers from their land holdings. And then a bit later, Parnell and Davitt set up the Land League, and there was war across this country as ordinary people fought for basic things. Fair rent, that was their slogan, fair rent and fixity of tenure. Indeed, it is fair to say that an absolutely major part of the Irish Revolution were those demands. The demand to vindicate the right to a fair rent and the security of the place you live. And it is to the eternal shame of this government that in a supposedly independent republic, it is now Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael who claim their inheritance from the Irish Revolution, who are trampling on the rights that the people have fought in this country for hundreds of years. It is to their shame. But we will complete the Irish Revolution, and we will vindicate the right to fair rent and to security of tenure. And with that, we're going to finish with a song that I hope captures the sentiment we want to bring across. They may have the numbers for now, in the Dáil, not for long, let's hope. But people power can undo what this cruel, inhumane government has done, and let's commit ourselves to build our movement of people power to fight for the right to housing. So with that in mind, Owen O'Canavan is going to finish us off with a song. Thanks everybody for coming along, and I hope I speak for all you when I say we will be back and back again and back again to support those fighting for their homes, support the fight for decent rents, support the fight for affordable and public housing. Well done.
Cheers. Let's do this together. Power to the people, cause the people got the power. Tell me, can you hear it? Getting louder by the hour. Power, 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 power to the people. Cause the people got the power. Tell me, can you feel it? Getting stronger by the hour. Power, 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 power to the people. Cause the people got the power. Tell me, can you feel it? Getting stronger by the hour. Power, 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 power. When housing rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back!
When housing rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back!
When housing rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back!
When housing rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back!
When housing rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back!
When housing rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back!
Housing rights are under attack.
Stand up, fight back!
When housing rights are under attack.
Stand